Good evening, everyone. My name is Susan Reyna Guerrero. Thank you for tuning in today. This is CAN TV Hotline 21. It's a live call-in show. Please feel free to call in. Number is 312-738-1060. Again, my name is Susan Reyna Guerrero, and we represent Beacon Therapeutic. I'm here today with Ryan Dargis. He's Vice President from Northern Trust and our Board Chairman. Before I begin, I would like to provide a little background information on Beacon. These are our 4 different locations, all in Beverly. Our business office is at 1912 West 103rd. Our Longwood campus is at 106th and Longwood. Our Calumet site is in Calumet Park on Ada, and our homeless outreach services is on Western Avenue. Just a little bit of background on Beacon. Beacon has been around since 1968. We're a full-service social service program that's been delivering special education services for over 40 years and also delivering homeless services for women and children throughout the city of Chicago. We're here today with Ryan Dargis. Again, he's our board chairman. And before I pass it over to Ryan, I just wanted to provide some additional information in terms of what we do and what our mission is and our website information. Our website, www.beacontherapeutic.org, and our motto is Empowering Lives and Changing Futures. Perhaps, Ryan, you can provide a little bit of background about yourself.
Sure, absolutely. And thank you very much for having me today. It's always fun to be able to talk and tell the story about Beacon. And I've served on the board for about 10 years now, since 2000, 5 of those last years as the chair of the board, so it's been an honor for me to be able to work with this wonderful organization. As Susan's indicated, my name is Ryan Dargis. I work at Northern Trust. I've been there for about 10 years in total. I've worked in their corporate institutional services group, supporting asset managers around the world and driving some of the product development projects that we have ongoing there all the time. And I am been able to work a lot with foreign governments and offshore entities who are servicing asset managers around the world.
So, and I know you've been board chairman, as you mentioned, for many years now.
Mm-hmm.
How large is the board at Beacon?
We have 12 members, a pretty diverse background in that membership. There's a couple bankers like myself, a couple attorneys, some educators, and some people from the healthcare profession. So we've got a pretty diverse and broad group. Always looking, of course, though, for more and new members, and always happy to talk to people who are interested in maybe helping out Beacon kind of fulfill its mission at that level.
What are some of the functions of the board?
Well, we generally speaking provide the overall oversight for the running of the organization. We help Susan in her role as executive director.
And you help a lot.
And we try. It's a challenging job, but a rewarding one. It's a way that a lot of us in the professional world who wouldn't otherwise have kind of impact or access to this part of society a chance to kind of give back and be able to help tangibly provide some guidance, some oversight to the organization and help it fulfill its mission and be able to do so in a way that's fiscally sound and ensures the long-term viability of the organization.
What within your background is kind of given you the skill set to be on the board, do you think?
Well, a couple things. I have definitely, growing up, always been reminded of the how I was able to get where I was, both educationally and in the job world, because of through luck, but also hard work, and realized that I, should be able to give back to others, and so that was kind of reinforced growing up. My dear wife is a very socially minded person who believes in service, and ever since knowing her and being married to her, that's something that's become a part of our life together. So it's something that we've looked for opportunities to be able to serve and give back in different ways, and this was one way that I could do so while using kind of the skills that I've developed in the work world.
Well, I know the corporate world is so important to support non-for-profits, so we're very grateful because I think we couldn't do the work we do without the support of the corporate world. So I think that's great that you've been on the board for so long, and I know you've been very supportive. Apparently we have a caller. Caller?
Hi. This seems like an extraordinary non-for-profit. What would someone do if they were interested in becoming a board member for Beacon Therapeutic?
Sure. Good, great question.
Thank you.
They could do a couple different things. They could go to the Beacon website, www.beacontherapeutic.
And I'll put that on.
beacon-therapeutic.org, and familiarize themselves with the organization and make sure that it's something that they're interested in pursuing, and then calling the business office and asking to talk to Susan, who can put you in touch with me and or other board members to talk about the experience of serving on the board, and why we find it rewarding and how you too could find it rewarding.
What would you say are some of the more rewarding experiences of
Right.
being on a board or on our board?
Well, it's a good question, and one of the things that has always attracted me to Beacon is the ability and to fairly easily see the tangible impact that Beacon makes in people's lives, and so to be able to see that, to go to or watch the videos of the student graduations from the school and be able to see the students in their own words describe the unbelievable impact that Beacon has made in their lives. That's regardless of being a board member, that's a powerful thing to see, and very rewarding for me, knowing that somehow I'm kind of involved in the operation, albeit in a kind of supervisory way. Also, it's been very rewarding to just participate in, face the different challenges that the firm or the organization has encountered, and look for solutions, quite frankly, on how we can help to get over them, surmount them. I mean, as you probably know, this is a tight fiscal environment for all of us, and be able to work with them, with Susan and her team, and be able to really identify solutions and try to work around the challenges. That's really rewarding and tangible, because I mean, it's really easy to see that these types of things, the work we're doing, albeit in a small way compared to the people working in the organization, it's making a difference, and something you can see very easily.
Yeah, I'd put up some of our different programs, and I'd like to just describe them very quickly. We have our intensive outpatient program, and essentially it's a day treatment program for children ages 3 through 18 who need something less intensive than a hospital program, but still need a structured milieu setting where they are able to provide developmental treatment in groups and so on. Our outpatient clinic, it's a traditional outpatient mental health clinic that provides community mental health services to the neighborhood and Beverly community. Our FACT project, Family Assertive Community Treatment, it's an innovative project that works with young moms and young children. We also have an early Head Start. Our Shelter Outreach Services is providing mobile mental health services to women and children. Our CHIPRA program, it's a Health and Human Services funded program that's linking up underserved populations with health care. And then, of course, our therapeutic day schools that you were briefly mentioning. I'm going to put some images of our kids up, because I think, Ryan, you bring up an excellent point that being able to really see the impact that our board of directors has is really powerful. And I think as much as we value, and I value clearly the support, but it's being able to give to yourselves a sense of rewarding experience that you actually have an opportunity to see what we're doing and who we're talking to. We have a caller. Caller?
I live in the area around Beacon Therapeutic, 107th and Longwood, and I had seen some advertising for an upcoming event that you're having, and I was wondering if you could go into a little more detail on it.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Maybe Ryan, take
Sure.
that away, and I'll put some information on the overhead on that.
Yeah, great idea. This Friday will be our annual, I think, 18th annual holiday supper in Beverly. It will be at our Longwood campus Friday night from 6:30 to 10:30 at 10650 South Longwood. This is an annual fundraiser slash celebration, really, that we've had now for 18 years. It started off as just a kind of ad hoc dinner party amongst local Beverly residents, and it's kind of evolved into this 400 guest celebration that we have every year, and it's really become a tradition. It's part of my holiday celebrations each year. It's part of a lot of people's holiday celebrations that come each year. It's a way for us to kind of celebrate the year, but also focus on trying to grow the organization and supplement its finances so that we can continue to provide the assistance specifically to our shelter outreach services, which are really the most vulnerable people that we deal with, some of the most vulnerable people that the organization deals with, homeless kids and homeless moms, and being able to provide them with the services they need to get back up on their feet, to provide the counseling services and supportive homeless or housing services that they need to kind of reintegrate in society. And this is a way that we can do it in a celebratory way, because we also want to acknowledge and really take pride in the work that the organization has done over the year. A lot of traditions associated with the event. There's a carriage ride around Beverly. There's cocktails. There's good food. There's a silent auction. All kinds of things. So it's really a fun time, and it's really become a kind of a tradition for a lot of us.
Yeah, and I think we also have the Mother Macaulay a cappella choir that's there, and I do know a large chunk of people come to see them. So, and Ryan, as you mentioned, I mean, clearly it's our one major fundraiser out of the year, and it is a wonderful time. So hopefully people will call. Information on how you can access tickets is right there, 773-298-1243. Or you can email P.Rourke at beacon-therapeutic.org. And this year we are honoring, for the brightest light, we're honoring Matt O'Shea, the 19th Ward Committeeman. Jim Kerrigan is our Opening Doors to the Future recipient, and Mary Rinaldi and the Tinley Park Lionesses are receiving the Warmest Heart in Illinois award. I think what's significant is, Beacon does have just two major fundraisers a year. The other one is in the spring. It's at Joe's Sports Bar on Weed Street. But then, of course, the Christmas event is the biggest one. What do you think people should know about Beacon? What do you think makes Beacon unique?
Oh, there's a lot of things. I mean, from a board member's point of view, I think what I've come to learn and appreciate is kind of, I've had exposure kind of through the kind of fiscal oversight of the organization, and been able to appreciate how the organization operates on a pretty strict and lean budget, and also be able to also look and see how, even though that those restrictions sometimes are in place and we're in a difficult fiscal environment, that the staff continues to provide a kind of a compassionate and innovative array of services. Even in the 10 years that I've been involved in the organization, I've seen it evolve and adapt to the challenges that really the society has presented us. We haven't gotten stuck in an existing mode of operating. We've been able to look and see what the problems are that the society faces, and homeless families face, and children in need face, and be able to adapt our services kind of in a flexible and innovative way. So as a board member, I see both sides of that. I see the kind of strict and efficient operation side, which is good, and I think something attractive to potential donors. But I also see that they've been able to do that in a way that they haven't lost the real kind of the heart of the service that they're providing.
Yeah, I'm putting up images of our kids and our families and who we work with. And I think, really this tells the story of what we're trying to do, and I think how our board members can feel really connected. I think we've all been fortunate to have been given different opportunities, and if, on a board level, being able to give back and help kids, really make a difference is so important. What do you think, Beacon has been around for 42 years,
right.
What do you think are some of your thoughts that why we've made it?
Well, I think it really comes back to that flexibility, the fact that and good, certainly good, outstanding leadership from yourselves and those who've came before you, and the team that you've put in place. I mean, all of those things have kind of been the ingredients for the recipe to really build a successful organization in an unceasingly challenging environment. So that's part of it. I think this flexibility and being able to adapt to the challenges that you've seen out there. I mean, you provide one set of services to homeless families, you see a trend, you've been able to pick up on that trend and be able to kind of tailor your services or change them based on what you've seen, to the point where it's conceivable that 10 years from now the services we provide could look very different than they do now based on what's needed. So I think that's really been the critical ingredient in terms of the long-term success of the organization, is being able to really stick to seeing what's out there in the the marketplace, if you will, and being able to adapt and provide relevant services to this clientele.
Just to remind everyone, this is a live call-in show. Please, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to call. The number is 312-738-1060. My name is Susan Reyna Guerrero. I am CEO of Beacon Therapeutic, and I am here today with Ryan Dargis, from Vice President of Northern Trust Bank. He is our board chairman, and he leads up a group of 15 different professionals that meet on a regular basis to help guide and provide oversight in our administrative and fiscal operations. We talked about how people can help Beacon. Clearly, the fundraiser is coming up.
Right.
What other ways can, participation on the board, what other ways can people help?
Yeah, I mean, it's the traditional things. It's time, talent, and treasure. It's, to the extent that you can volunteer in one of many ways, we certainly would be open and welcome you to do that, whether it's at the board level or assisting in some other aspect of the organization's day-to-day operations, fundraising, working on the different fundraising events is always something we need help with, and certainly can benefit from aiding in some of the things we do in terms of, you can see on the screen, helping with moving families in, being able to really help get them kick-started into what is oftentimes a new life for them. That's certainly helpful. And being able to really, there's a whole gamut of different ways that you could help. But certainly get in touch, call the number on the website, and ask, how could you help? There's really the full menu of possibilities in terms of time. A lot of time people think they don't necessarily have a relevant talent, but it may just be energy, and that's something that we often need. And folk, quite frankly, the treasure as well. So, all three of those relate to helping Beacon grow.
I know our development director always talks about broadening the circle.
Right.
And clearly it's having more people become aware of what we're doing. I know a past board member at one point likened us to like a treasure under a shell, or I forget exactly. But, essentially we've been around for so long, and we're not super large, but we're not small.
Right.
And I think being mid-size really has allowed us a lot of flexibility, but also a lot of people don't know about what we do. And I think, doing something like this, what we're doing today, is really helpful.
Right. And that's, getting the word out, and, our Beacon's reason for existence is not necessarily to grow its revenue streams or anything like that. It's being able to help people and make a difference in people's lives. And to the extent that we can avail ourselves of opportunities to get the word out, we certainly want to continue to do that, and hope to be able to reach as many people as we can. Because you're right, we're not the big kids on the block in terms of some of these services that we provide, but we are incredibly able in terms of how we make lasting impact on people's life, and it's getting that message out and helping people to see the tangible evidence of that is really, I think, the game changer for us.
If we look at last fiscal year, we provided services to over 3,000 individuals, and that's individuals, and count that by how many family members that we've touched. So we really are making a big impact in the array of programs that we have. I guess it's a question of, what thoughts do you have about Beacon's future?
Well, it's these are tough times, as I've kind of already indicated, and some people may get down in the dumps about that, but I think to the extent that you get familiar with what Beacon does and how successful they are, it's encouraging, and it gives me and the entire board hope in terms of being able to continue to face those challenges, and again focus on that flexibility and understanding what the client base is the services they're asking for, what they're yearning for, and being able to kind of quickly adapt and be able to provide that. I think that's really the recipe for success, and where I think the future lies. It maybe changes again in terms of the services that we provide, but again, I think as long as we continue to focus on, we want to make kids and moms, families' lives better. As long as we continue to keep that focus, how the services look or what our business model looks like is kind of less important, as long as we keep focus and we keep disciplined in terms of how we run the shop.
I think the challenge is clearly, and this is where the helpful relationship develops between a board and the executive team is being able to be aware of how you do need to keep on changing. And, we've been fortunate. We do have a diversified funding stream. We have federal funding from HUD. We have federal funding through Health and Human Services, and, of course, city, state, and then private foundation funding.
Right.
But these are some of the biggest challenges that we have. So, it's clearly going back to understanding how the corporate world can help support us. And you've used the word earlier, you said firm. Yeah. And, it's being able to operate non-for-profits through business.
Right.
And that's the insight that you can provide.
Right, and that's what a lot of donors are looking for. They're looking for an efficiently run ship. They want their money to be used wisely, and it's a stewardship issue. And that's one thing where I think the board can certainly add value in terms of being able to help provide guidance and consultation around the best way to achieve that, but also, quite frankly, in using its resources and the connections that the board members have in the business community to help open the door for Beacon in different cases wherever we can, and be able to help introduce you to potential funding sources. I mean, that's we view that as a critical obligation of ours, and there's always room for improvement in terms of how well we do that, because it's in the long-term interest of the organization to continually grow and diversify our
Is that
our
corporate
sources.
citizenship?
It
Call it
is,
corporate
it
citizenship.
is, it is.
I was going to put some pictures up of our kids. Again, looking at what are the opportunities, what are the opportunities, of helping our little people, as I like to call them. And it's families. And even though the majority of our families are single moms, single parent household, it's wonderful when we do have, intact families or fathers with children. And clearly that's a population I think that's growing, and it's how do we continue to support that service.
I think what's critical as you look at these pictures, one of the critical items is that the evidence in terms of the people that Beacon's been able to service is that, the earlier you have the opportunity to make a difference in someone's life, the more lasting that the impact of that change will kind of reside with the person who you've helped. So, our focus has always had this aspect of focusing on children as well, because the evidence is there is that the sooner you get in and make a difference in their life, the more lasting that impact. So, I think that's really something that we try to think about in terms of what the board does, so that when you look at these pictures on the screen, it's clear that people are happy, people are smiling, and that's something that kind of is indicative of the impact that Beacon's made, and a lot of times that impact lasts for years and years, and the sooner we can make that, the more beneficial it is to society.
Why do you think people should join a Beacon's board versus some other board?
Well, good question. The meals are great at the meeting. No,
we do have nice meals.
We do have nice meals. Again, I think it's realizing that Beacon it's a large enough organization where we have scale and we can really make a difference. But it's also, we haven't forgotten where we come from, and we're not so big that it's got a corporate industrial feel to it in terms of the services that they provide. It is, you can still really see, and even from the board's point of view, when we talk to the directors of the different programs, which we do once a year as kind of a part of our oversight process, is you can really feel through them, and even just visiting the organization at any time, you can really see the difference that the organization is making. And some organizations get so large it's hard to still feel the impact, and we're grateful that we're at the size where you can definitely still feel that and see that.
Yeah, and I think that kind of give and take is really important, because I think, we do have our 4 locations, and yes, we do work with a lot of people annually, but I think being able to have access to the board representatives is really important for us. So I'd like to wrap it up today. Again, my name is Susan Arena Guerrero. I'm from Beacon Therapeutic, and I was here today with Ryan Dargis, our board chairman. Any final quick thoughts?
Just wanted to reiterate the board's gratitude to you, Susan, in terms of the services that you provide. You do an amazing job in an incredibly challenging environment. Although we find it a joy to work with you in the organization, we're constantly reminded how challenging and tough it is, and how a lot of us couldn't do it on a day-to-day basis. So we're very grateful to you and your entire team, because we know that you guys make a a huge difference in people's lives, and you do something that we can't do, and
Oh
we're,
my God,
we're
that
really
was
grateful.
great. Thank you.
We're
I wasn't
very
expecting
grateful.
that one. Thank you. Well, no, and I think it's a mutual respect and admiration, clearly, because I think we couldn't do what we do without the support of the board, and it's the broader support. So I thank everyone for watching, and I'm going to put this on. Final words. We will be back next week, Tuesday at 4:30. Our website is www.beacon-therapeutic.org. Thank you very much, Ryan, again.
Thank you.
And
Pleasure to be here.
thank you. Bye-bye.